My best friend's sister cried about losing her restaurant, so we threw a fundraiser. She raised $38,000, said she was paying taxes. 2 days later, she posted to New Beginnings, with wine, a jazz band, and imported cheese. You'd never know it from the way people talked about her, but Callie had a reputation in our town, not for her food, but for her drama. If you'd walked into a bar in Ridgeway and mentioned her name, half the crowd would roll their eyes, and the other half would lean in to tell you whatever the latest fire she was fighting was. Figuratively, sometimes literally. My name is Nolan. I'm 36. I co-own a small but successful landscaping business in Ridgeway, Tennessee with my best friend and longtime partner, Marcus. And unfortunately, Callie's his little sister. She showed up to our office on a Tuesday morning, all sunglasses and oversized hoodie, acting like she was trying to be low-key but failing miserably. She brought in the scent of desperation and expensive perfume with her. Marcus, she said, pulling down her shades. Her eyes were red, like she hadn't slept. I need your help. It's bad this time. Marcus looked up from his laptop. What now? She didn't answer right away, just flopped into the chair across from his desk and stared at me like I might start judging her before she even told us what was going on. And I'll admit, I already was. Last time we helped her, it was because her sous chef accidentally locked a food critic in the bathroom during a wine pairing event. The time before that, a lawsuit over some allegedly stolen recipes. But today was different. She looked shaken, like she'd finally run out of her usual 9 lives. It's the restaurant, she said finally, wiping her face like she was trying to hold it together. They're going to take it. I got this tax bill. I swear to God I didn't know about it. And now the IRS is threatening foreclosure. Marcus sat up straighter. What kind of tax bill? She pulled out a thick envelope and tossed it on the desk like it was radioactive. Back taxes. From before the pandemic. Apparently some paperwork got misfiled, and now it's all come due at once. I reached for it, flipping through the first few pages. It looked legit, but I've learned over the years that with Callie, the facts always need a second opinion. How much? Marcus asked. She hesitated. 42,000. Marcus sucked in a breath. Jesus. I know, she said quickly, and I don't have it. I've tried everything, loans, credit cards, even a GoFundMe, but it's not enough. If I don't pay it by the end of the month, they'll take the building. That restaurant is everything I've got. Her voice cracked then, and a tear slipped down her cheek. And whether it was real or rehearsed, I couldn't say. But Marcus stood up and walked around the desk like he always did when he was about to play the big brother. I'll help, he said. We'll figure something out. Callie looked at me next. Please, Nolan. You know I've messed up before, but this place, it's my last chance. I just need to raise the rest of it. Maybe a fundraiser or something. I'll pay everyone back. I swear. Everything in me said to say no, but Marcus was already nodding. So I said, we'll see what we can do. And just like that, we were in. The fundraiser came together faster than I expected. That's one of the upsides to living in a small town. When someone's in trouble, people show up. Especially for someone like Callie, who had spent the last few years making herself a local celebrity, whether through her cooking or her ability to turn every misstep into a sympathetic story. We hosted it at the Ridgeway Community Center on a Saturday afternoon. Potluck-style food, silent auction items donated by local businesses, live acoustic music, the whole 9 yards. I handled logistics while Marcus ran around like a golden retriever, shaking hands and thanking people for coming. Callie? She was in rare form. She wore this soft blue dress and pinned her hair back like she was playing the role of the humble hometown girl just trying to keep her dream alive. She greeted every guest with a hug and watery eyes. When someone handed her a check, she clutched it to her chest like they'd handed her oxygen. In the tears, she cried. In front of the retired couple who gave her $1,000. In front of the kids who ran a lemonade stand to raise $20. Even in front of Ms. Doreen from the hardware store, who's so mean she makes toddlers cry. But that day, even Doreen got misty-eyed. I'll never forget this, Callie said during her little thank you speech. You're not just saving a restaurant, you're saving my life. Marcus dropped 10 grand into the fund from his own account. Said it was family, like that explained everything. I chipped in too, though not nearly that much. I still had questions. But seeing the turnout, over 100 people and how much they raised, it was hard to argue that she hadn't inspired people. We pulled together just over 38 grand that day. Callie kept saying she couldn't believe it, that she didn't deserve this kind of kindness. That she was going straight to the county clerk first thing Monday morning to sort everything out. Then she left early, saying she had to meet a lawyer about some paperwork. Gave us both hugs. Teary ones, again. But by Wednesday, she wasn't answering texts. Marcus left 2 voicemails. Nothing. By Friday, I started to get that familiar, sinking feeling in my gut. Something was off. It was almost midnight when I saw it. I was in bed, half watching a rerun of Chopped and mindlessly scrolling Instagram, the way you do when sleep doesn't come easy. That's when I saw her name. At Chef Callie Cooks, tagged in someone's story. The username was familiar, one of those wine moms in town who used hashtags like #LocavOrLife and posted everything in sepia tones. I tapped it without thinking. The video was maybe 10 seconds long, soft jazz playing in the background, a modern loft lit by string lights and candles, people clinking glasses, holding little plates of food that looked way too fancy for a Saturday night in Ridgeway. Then the camera pan left, and there she was, Callie, laughing, holding a stem glass of red wine, her arm looped through a guy's in a suit. She looked radiant, confident, like someone who hadn't spent the last 2 weeks crying about foreclosure. She raised her glass in a toast. To new beginnings, she said, loud enough that it picked up clearly on the audio. I just stared at my screen, confused, curious. Then came the next clip, a sweeping view of the room. An elaborate charcuterie table set up on a reclaimed wood slab. Tiny ramekins, imported cheeses, rose-shaped salami. A guy with a stand-up bass played near the corner, next to a small bar stocked with nothing but local wine and Callie's signature lemon thyme cocktail. The caption underneath read, Chef Callie's private tasting was unforgettable. She really outdid herself. Hashtag Ridgeway Eats, hashtag invite only, hashtag chef life. My stomach turned. This wasn't paperwork. This wasn't some emergency dinner or charity event. This was promotion, branding, a personal PR stunt dressed up as an exclusive culinary experience. And the money? The fundraiser money? It had paid for all of it. The wine, the venue, the staff, the imported cheese. I swiped through more clips, watching her beam for photos, hand out gift bags, talk up some guy with a camera crew. It all made sense now. She didn't want to save the restaurant. She wanted to build a persona, a buzz, something she could use to leverage investment from people way richer than us. I sat there for a long time, phone glowing in the dark, heart beating faster with every swipe. She'd conned us, all of us. And suddenly, I wasn't just pissed. I was ready for answers. I waited until the next morning to show Marcus. Thought maybe sleeping on it would make me less angry. It didn't. We were in the office, and I slid my phone across the desk like it was evidence in a murder case. He tapped the screen a few times, watched one video, then another. I didn't say anything, just waited. After the third clip, he exhaled hard and set the phone down. You think it was fundraiser money? He asked. I raised an eyebrow. You see anyone else writing her a check lately? He rubbed his temples. Maybe she got a sponsor. Maybe someone helped her throw it. I mean, that place looks expensive. But, Marcus. He looked up. She told us she was going to the courthouse. Instead, she booked a downtown loft and threw herself a party. He didn't argue, didn't try to defend her again, just sighed and pulled out his phone. Let's call her. It took 3 tries before she picked up. Hello, she said, sounding rushed. Callie, Marcus said. Where are you right now? There was a pause. Why? We need to talk. She let out a little huff. Okay, well, I'm in between meetings today. I've got a call in 15, but I can talk for a minute. I saw the videos, I said, cutting in. Silence. Then, oh, that. I repeated. She cleared her throat. Look, it wasn't a big thing. Just a little tasting. Networking. Really. You know, trying to get some private clients. With fundraiser money? I said. That money went into the business, she replied quickly. And this was technically business. You told everyone it was for back taxes, Marcus said quietly. I thought it was. She snapped. Plans changed. Okay. I had a better opportunity come up. Something that could actually save the business, not just patch a hole. So you lied, I said. She let out an annoyed sigh. Oh my God. Not this again. I didn't lie. I pivoted. You think successful people don't take risks? You think Gordon Ramsay never moved money around when something better came up? I stared at the phone, stunned. Marcus sounded defeated when he spoke. You could have just told us. Yeah? And then what? You'd pull the money back? Start calling me a scam artist? No thanks. I'm starting too, I muttered. Well, if you're gonna be like that, I don't have time for this, she said. I've got real work to do. Then she hung up. Marcus looked at me. Okay, he said, voice flat. Now I'm listening. After that call, Marcus wanted to believe it was still just a misunderstanding, bad judgment, maybe, but not a full-blown scam. I wasn't so optimistic, so I started digging. I called the venue first, pretending to be planning a retirement party. Told them I loved the space Callie used for her tasting and asked if they could quote me something similar. The girl on the phone was cheerful, helpful, and completely unaware that she was handing me ammo. Chef Callie's event, she said. Oh yeah, that was one of our top-tier packages. Full loft rental, catering access, bartending service, private kitchen space. That one was prepaid, no corners cut. How much did that run? I asked, trying to sound casual. She checked, right around $8,000. All paid up 2 weeks before. Paid by who? She paused. Callie Baines. Credit card in her name. I thanked her and hung up. Next, I tracked down the bartender from the event. His name was Jordan. I found him tagged in one of the party photos and messaged him, saying I was looking for a caterer and had some questions. He replied within an hour. Yeah, that night was a chef showcase, he said. Callie rented out the whole place. Had all these media types and local bloggers. She was trying to attract investors. Said she wanted to build a private dining brand. Pop-ups, luxury tastings, all that stuff. I stared at the message. Investors, not community support, not saving a diner. While I was still processing that, I got lunch with Gina, a mutual friend of mine and Callie's, who used to work part-time at the restaurant. She didn't even let me finish asking. She hasn't stepped foot in that kitchen for weeks, Gina said, stabbing at her salad. Walked out one night and never came back. Left the manager hanging with a full house and no direction. What about the staff? Half of them quit. The others are still waiting on checks. I blinked. You're serious? She told everyone she was shutting down temporarily, then went dark. No follow-up, no notice. Nothing. That was the moment it clicked. The tax bill was probably real, but Callie had no intention of saving that restaurant. It was just a prop, something to play the victim over while she funneled the money into her personal brand. When I told Marcus everything, he sat in silence for a while. Then he said, "She looked me in the eye, man. Said it was her last chance." "Yeah," I said, "and she made sure we were the ones paying for it." He leaned back in his chair, face hard. "Okay, no more excuses." We both knew what had to happen next. We gave Callie 3 more days. 3 days to come clean, to send a message, to at least pretend she cared. She didn't, so we wrote the email. Marcus and I sat side by side in our office drafting it, line by line. It wasn't dramatic. No insults, no threats, just facts. Clean, cold, and undeniable. We started with gratitude. "Thank you to everyone who supported Callie's fundraiser. Your generosity was overwhelming, and we believed, as many of you did, that the money would be used to save her restaurant." Then we got to the truth. We've since learned that Callie used a substantial portion of the fundraiser money to host a private, invite-only tasting event at a luxury loft space. Attached are screenshots of the event, confirmations from the venue and staff, and statements from individuals who worked that night. We also include images of social media promotions and a cost breakdown provided by the venue itself. The final paragraph read, "We know this will come as a shock. It was to us. We feel betrayed, too. Our goal is not to shame, but to ensure transparency, especially for those who donated in good faith. If you have concerns or questions, we are open to discussing next steps, including potential refunds through formal channels." We hit send. 62 recipients. Local business owners, neighbors, parents from Lily's elementary school, even the mayor's assistant, who had donated $500 and shared the GoFundMe on his Facebook page. It didn't take long. By noon, my inbox was flooded. Some people were furious, others confused. A few sent one-word replies like unbelievable or damn. But the one that stood out came from Mrs. Templeton, a retired teacher who had given Callie $300 from her pension. "Thank you," she wrote. I knew something felt wrong. That same afternoon, Callie posted to her chef page on Instagram a photo of a knife on a wooden cutting board, all artsy and black and white, with the caption, "When you do well, the jealous ones try to tear you down. Sad to see people I once trusted turn so bitter, but I won't stop." The comments were split. Some clapped back. "You lied to people. Where's the tax bill?" Others rushed to her defense. "Keep rising, queen." Small-town haters are always loudest. But the damage was done. People started sharing our email, tagging others. Even folks who hadn't donated were chiming in, asking what really happened. A few called her brave. More called her out. By evening, Marcus and I were sitting on his porch, phones buzzing nonstop, watching the whole thing unfold in real time. "You think we did the right thing?" he asked. "Yeah," I said. "It's not about revenge. It's about making sure people know who they gave their money to." He nodded slowly. "Then let's take it further." By the end of the week, we were sitting in a lawyer's office. Her name was Sheila Alston, mid-50s, sharp-eyed, and no-nonsense. She used to work fraud cases in Nashville before semi-retiring in Ridgeway. We picked her because she didn't flinch when we told her what happened, just nodded slowly, took notes, and started pulling up legal codes before we even finished our coffee. "You've got enough for a civil case," she said, flipping through the printouts we brought. Fundraising under false pretenses. Misuse of funds. Potential mail and wire fraud if she used digital platforms to solicit donations. Marcus sat stiffly in the chair next to me, arms crossed. "But we'd win." She shrugged. "You've got a strong case. But it won't be quick, and it won't be quiet. Once you go legal, this stops being personal and becomes public record." "Good," I muttered. She glanced at me. "That a problem?" "No," I said. "It's exactly what she deserves." Sheila nodded and leaned back in her chair. "I'll draft the paperwork. But I'll warn you now, if she's willing to double down on social media, she might do worse once she's cornered." We found out how right she was a few days later. I was locking up the office when I got a call from our main food supplier, a guy named Rex who we'd worked with for years. "Hey, Nolan. Weird thing," he said. "Someone tried to open a wholesale account using your business name. Landscaping company ordering bulk olive oil. Ring any bells?" My stomach dropped. What name did they give? He read it off. Nolan Rivers Landscaping and Events. That was never a real entity. Rex continued. The email was chefcallie@something.com. I figured it had to be a mistake, but when I saw her name, thought I'd better check. It wasn't a mistake. She tried to use our names to get discounted inventory, probably to stock some new culinary stunt. I called Marcus immediately. He didn't even sound surprised. "Of course she did," he said. "Why stop at donations when you can start forging brands?" That night, we called Sheila again and told her everything. She didn't blink. "We'll add attempted identity misuse and fraud," she said. "That'll grab attention." Marcus looked at me after we hung up. He was pale, but there was fire in his eyes now. "This isn't just a bad decision anymore," he said. "This is theft. This is criminal." And he was right. Whatever guilt or hesitation we'd felt about going after his sister, it was gone. Because now, it wasn't just about what she did to us. It was about what she might try next. Things unraveled faster than I expected. By the time Sheila filed the first set of legal documents, Callie's reputation was already hanging by a thread, and once word got out that formal action was being taken, people stopped giving her the benefit of the doubt. The sponsors were the first to go. Some small batch olive oil brand she'd tagged in her stories sent her a polite but public comment. "We are no longer affiliated with Chef Callie Baines. We support transparency and ethical entrepreneurship." Then the charcuterie company she'd worked with reposted one of our screenshots and added, "We trusted the wrong person. Lesson learned." It was like watching dominoes fall in slow motion. Her follower count started dipping, at first by the dozens, then by the hundreds. By week's end, her once vibrant feed had turned into a ghost town of old selfies and curated captions drowned out by a flood of angry comments. Then her old restaurant staff started speaking up. Gina, the same friend who'd clued me in earlier, posted a thread on Facebook that got shared over 2,000 times locally. She laid it all out. The missed paychecks, the late-night walkouts, the broken promises. Others chimed in. A former dishwasher, a waitress who'd been ghosted after her last shift, even a local food blogger who said Callie offered him a free tasting in exchange for a glowing review, then vanished after he published it. People were no longer whispering. They were shouting. And in the middle of all that noise, she reached out. Marcus got the text first. "Callie, can we talk? I want to fix this." He stared at the screen for a long time, then showed it to me. "What do you think?" he asked. "She's cornered," I said. "She wants a way out." Still, we agreed to meet her. Not alone. Not at her place. We chose a public coffee shop downtown where we knew she wouldn't cause a scene, at least, not a loud one. She was already there when we arrived, sitting at a table by the window, hoodie pulled up, no makeup. For once, she didn't look like a brand. She looked like someone who hadn't slept in days. "Hey," she said quietly. "We didn't sit yet. You said you wanted to fix this," Marcus said. Callie nodded slowly. I made some bad decisions. I know that, but I didn't think it would go this far. Didn't think lying to a whole town would have consequences?" I asked. She winced. I panicked. "Okay. I thought I could use the money to get something bigger started, something that would make it up to everyone in the long run." "You didn't even pay your staff," I said. "They had to find out from Instagram that you were throwing parties while they sat home broke." Her voice cracked. "I didn't mean for it to blow up like this." Marcus sat down slowly. I followed. This wasn't a real apology. It was a last-ditch salvage attempt, but we still had to hear her out, even if we already knew how it would end. The coffee shop was half full, the clinking of mugs and low hum of conversation making it feel strangely normal, which made everything about that meeting feel even weirder. Callie sat across from us, hands wrapped around her untouched coffee. She looked smaller than I remembered. Not physically, just deflated. Like the persona had finally worn off, and what was left didn't know how to function without the applause. "I was under pressure," she said, her voice quiet. "I know that doesn't excuse anything, but it's the truth. I've been trying to build something for so long, and when I realized the restaurant was slipping away, I didn't know what else to do." Marcus stared at her. "So you lied? To me, to Nolan, to everyone." She looked at him, tears brimming. "I didn't set out to lie. I just shifted things, one step at a time. I thought I could fix it before anyone noticed." "Is that what the private tasting was for?" I asked. "To fix it? You spend our town's donations on wine pairings and live jazz. You left your staff hanging. You tried to open a supplier account using my name." She flinched. I was desperate. "No," I said. "You were selfish." Callie wiped at her eyes, smearing mascara that had already started to run. "I want to make it right. I don't want this to end like this. Please, just tell me what I can do." "You can start by facing what you did," Marcus said. His voice cracked slightly, the kind of hurt that only comes from family. "We're not covering for you. Not anymore." "You don't mean that," she whispered. "I do." He reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a folded paper, a printed copy of the lawsuit notice Sheila had prepared. He laid it on the table in front of her. "You'll be served officially by the end of the week. But I wanted you to hear it from me." Her hands shook as she picked it up. She didn't read it, just stared at the heading. "You're really doing this?" Marcus nodded slowly. "I love you. You're my sister, but I can't keep pretending this is okay. You used us. You used our names, our money, and the kindness of people who believed in you." "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I really am, but I'd heard enough." I stood up. "Sorry doesn't pay people back. Sorry doesn't undo what you did. And sorry doesn't erase the fact that even when you got caught, your first instinct was to spin it." She looked up at me, eyes pleading. "Nolan, no." I grabbed my jacket. Marcus stood, too. He hesitated for a second, then said, "We'll let the court handle it now." And we walked out. We didn't look back. Not because it didn't hurt. It did. It always does. Drawing a line with someone who's supposed to be family. But sometimes, the only way to protect what you've built is to stop setting yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. Callie made her choices. And finally, we made ours.